Hello, and welcome to Five for Friday for this Friday, June 10th. Have laptop will travel. That's me coming to you from my childhood bedroom here in Cherry Hill, New Jersey, out in town to visit family for my nephew's graduation and still finding time for Five for Friday. That's how passionate I am about finding these stories and sharing them with you. So let's go through our five stories for today. And I hope you will also check out the PDF newsletter that is attached below the video. All right, so let's start with our five stories for this week. Story number one has to do with several different innovations related to climate change that I thought were cool and interesting, including feeding red algae to cows to limit methane emissions, as well as powering planes with hydrogen fuel cells, and reducing the carbon footprint of concrete. All news stories that I saw, and interestingly enough, at least two of those three were come up with by immigrants. So often a great source of innovation and entrepreneurship. All right, story number two is just a generic efficiency tends to lower costs. Where are we seeing this happen? Well, first of all, we're seeing it happen in solar and wind power, because the more we start to use those, the more efficient we become in how to use them and how to manufacture them, and we're seeing the costs continue to lower. Next is in LED lighting. Apparently, similar to Moore's law, there is a law related to LED bulbs. Who knew? That shows that the more powerful they become, the cheaper they become, which is a huge benefit to things like inside or internal gardening, indoor farming. And then third is just kind of a forced efficiency among residents in the European Union as they look to decrease their dependence on Russia for fuel. All right, moving on to story number three, some things going on in human resources where small companies might have the advantage over large companies. First, I noted a story about big businesses are really only interested in hiring people full-time. However, there is a huge pool of interested individuals who are looking for part-time work, who are very experienced and capable. Many of these are women with small children. And so if you're looking for some help, maybe consider part-time labor as a possibility. In addition, the government is looking at trying to make changes in the world of non-compete clauses, which could also certainly help aspiring entrepreneurs who want to leave their large business or people that want to grow a business and hire from the big business. We're also seeing an experiment going on in the EU, actually in the UK, my apologies, in the UK, where they're looking to test a 4-day work week over a 6-month period with about 70 companies. So stay tuned to see how that works out. A few other things. Customer service is high in demand, but it's also high in demand for customer service reps. The average wait times are going up dramatically, and people are more and more interested in speaking to a human. So consider the value your small business has in having those direct conversations with your customers, and make sure you recognize that value and take advantage of those personal connections. And then finally, if you can't have personal connections in person, consider the metaverse. That's right. People are thinking that the metaverse, where we put on our VR headsets, is going to be the new place to have meetings and conversations, like it will replace Zoom. So something to consider if you deal with customers that are not nearby as a way to have a personal connection. All right, moving on to story number 4, EVs and batteries. First, more on the autonomous vehicle. Walmart is investing in several different companies with autonomous vehicles with the goal of beating Amazon to the delivery race. The idea being that there are Walmarts located so many places across the country that if their only need is to deliver that last mile, they can use these autonomous vehicle companies and get things delivered rapidly. Building on that, the federal government is putting grant money together to make sure that we can increase the number of rapid charging stations across the country. We've seen a huge surge in demand for electric vehicles, but not a similar increase in the charging stations, so that's become problematic. Another problem in this industry is that we're having trouble manufacturing batteries fast enough to put into all these new cars. And so again, there's still a lot of work to be done to improve the batteries themselves, the lives of the batteries, and the manufacturing process. But as we saw in story number 2, as we increase our efficiency, we'll ultimately see the costs go down. So I imagine that will be the case here as well. And then finally, for story number 5, a few miscellaneous things that defied categorization, but I thought were interesting signals of change. Let's start with, you perhaps already saw this, the European Union is going to mandate that your phones, tablets, and laptops all have a common charger by 2025. So brilliant. Let's see how that all goes. We probably all have drawers and drawers full of chargers. So nice to see a change coming about there. Next, is there a new competitor for Google? Search engine optimization company Ahrefs is looking to create their own search engine. And I think that's awesome. And I'm going to be curious to follow what that looks like and how it works. They do intend to share their advertising profits with the content creators. So again, an interesting story about something that should be coming in the future. Other things, alcohol companies are now getting in on the metaverse and creating virtual bars where you can have a virtual drink with your virtual friends and get virtual drunk. Still not sure if I'm buying all of this, but interesting story. And then finally, H&M has put together a smart mirror that will help you in the dressing room find your size and give you some style recommendations. I think they're hoping it will increase sales. I just think it sounds a little bit creepy. So there we are with our 5 stories. And then as a reminder, of course, I've also added that special recession, yes or no piece to the end. This week, there are a lot more stories in the yes recession category, but just remember that quantity doesn't mean, not quality, but just more stories doesn't mean that the fact is that there will be one. Lots of mixed reviews, let me put it that way. You can check out the newsletter for more details and hyperlinks to all those stories. Thanks for joining me this week here broadcasting from my childhood bedroom. And I hope you will join me next week on 5 for Friday. Thanks.